Yeah, excited for the opportunity to go back to the Garden, the greatest, second greatest arena in basketball, greatest worldwide. Obviously, big fan of State Farm Center, but great opponent. Excited to be a part of this game. Excited to start the series with UConn, with them returning to Chicago. You get an opportunity to see one of the best teams in the country. It'll be a hostile environment, predominantly their home crowd being so close. But great experience for our guys to play in the Garden, and great opportunity for us to continue to grow as a basketball team against one of the best in the country.
Keys to the game against UConn, you think?
I think you've got to handle a couple things. I think that their front court is pretty good. I think that they're deep there with Taurus, with Rebay, with Caravan, and you got multiple guys there that are very productive. Obviously, their depth, they guard very well. They're a team that doesn't give you a ton of easy looks. You got to pick your spots against them, but I think one of the big keys, as always, will be rebounding. We got hurt in the Elite 8 game in transition. You can't turn the ball over. They force a lot of turnovers and let them get out in transition. Solo balls, terrific in the open court. So you got to take care of the ball. You got to rebound.
What was the tone of practice today after last night?
Care, give a damn about the defensive side. I think we've been able to score it pretty effectively in almost every game. I think that mentality has maybe led to some complacency on the defensive end. I thought we had much better fight today in practice, and that's ultimately on me. But it was a game which I thought UTRGV played harder than us. That doesn't happen very often, and that's just not acceptable. So we had some conversations, and I think as we've brought guys back into play, it's changed some roles a little bit, and I think we've got to figure all that out. But saying that, we did some good things against a good basketball team, and we've just got to continue to have role identification, play harder, and enjoy the process of growing.
Since we're in the middle of Feast Week, do you ever envision playing in a traditional NTE again?
Not really. Why? I don't see any reason to want to go do that. I think that I'm not saying that I'm against it. I don't. I don't know. I like where we're at. I like what we're doing. I like the games we're playing. I like the competition we're playing. Pretty pleased with just the current way we're doing things.
How did this get set up with Danny? When did this start?
Yeah, it was in the spring. I think Joey and their people, started talking, in involvement with the Garden, and one thing led to another, and here we are with the series. So, Joey initiates a lot of those contacts, and I think we've got to continue to want to play the best, and we get to do it in literally the best arena. We played some phenomenal arenas this year. I think we're always striving for those opportunities, and this one presented itself.
Sense anything from the new guys, the international guys, about the anticipation of getting to play in Madison Square Garden, if it means just as much to them?
I don't know if it does or not. It was. We'll talk about that as we go. Obviously, it's New York City, so they all are familiar with New York City and what that, what that city is. but the Garden is obviously unique, and they'll have an appreciation for it for sure when they walk into it.
With Tommy, how do you kind of balance getting him enough playing time to get into the flow with not wanting to overdo it?
Yeah, I think it's more about practice with him than it is the games. And he had a couple shots last night. He's shooting 40% from the three. His numbers are phenomenal. And yet it's the I think we had 20 points and 13 rebounds from he and Z, and I'll take that and sign me up for that every night. It may look a little bit different than what it did last year, but it's still really productive, and we're fortunate that we've got Z and we've got Merck and we've got guys that have been performing at a pretty high level. While he's on his way back, and it's not, he doesn't have to be the guy. He just needs to fit into his role and keep doing what he's doing, and all that stuff will work out.
How much do you personally, I don't know if relish is the right word, with the opportunity to push those buttons in a practice like today after last night and kind of have that example that you can mold and shape this team?
It's what I think I'm pretty good at. I think it's always about competing. It's always about the next challenge. I think the one thing that I'm always conscious of is trying to play the game perfectly, and there's always lessons after every game, whether it's the mental part, whether it's the chemistry piece, whether it's the challenges that sometimes I'm going to create them just to create them, but you've got to never be in a position where the other team plays harder. And I write it on the board every game, play hard, have fun, know the thrill of an all-out effort, all those little things. And hopefully those things get hammered home and they just soak in. And yet last night was a night that, give them credit. They're well coached and they played harder than us, and we kind of fell into that.
Did you get a sense that, I think back to the Penn State game a couple of years ago, you kind of got the sense that could be one of those. Did you get a sense that kind of that playing hard topic was brewing that you would need to address?
Yeah, I think I always get concerned anytime we haven't had a lot of practice, a lot of games, and very little practice time, so you could actually just grind and make them uncomfortable in practice, and stress them that way, and it's especially with new guys. We scored 87 and we shot it very poorly, but our want to, our give a damn factor on the other side was not very good, and again, their credit deserves some of that credit, but you get a feel for that as a coach, and I think that's the one thing it's one of the reasons I said 10 days ago I was concerned about that game.
Who do you look forward to from your team, your players, to spark that defensive focus?
Anybody right now. Kylan, Tommy, Jake, Ben, guys that have been here know what that looks like. I understand tired. I understand all of that. We've got to rise above all of that. It's a week where you get home at 2:30, 2:45. You're still always trying to make that up. You jump right into the next one. We did take a day off in there, but our mental has to be and has to be more focused, and it's a good learning experience for us. Glad we find it out now, not in the NCAA tournament.
Halo's pretty dynamic, obviously. Are there any communications challenges with him, just getting him to figure out what you got, what you have dialed up, and communication on defense?
Not as much. I think that the challenges are more defensive than offensive. I think the one thing defensively that we're trying to do is create simplicity in terms of communication, and the calls have to be early. He's going to get ball screen a lot. He's got to make those adjustments. He handles some of those simple things pretty well, and but not as there's some. I'm not gonna lie, there's some, but he's handling most of them pretty well.
I want to take it back to what you said about him last night, which was I need him to come over when we heard that ball you done that in practice and gotten that?
Well, I'm in his ear all the time in practice. Yeah, and that
Do you get that stare of like, oh God, he doesn't get it all?
no, he knows what we're doing. He understands all of that. It's just that a point guard's a quarterback. You gotta relay that. You know, there's you know, we call it echoing a call, and you've got to be able to do those things, and you know, there's no mind reading. You know, in basketball, you've got to be able to communicate it, and you know, he's fine once, you know, he's good. We're running this, okay? He'll say all of that, and but it sometimes from half court to the bench, it doesn't maybe get picked up as easy. So
How much you rely on your other guys like
a lot.
Tommy and Andre
Yeah,
and those guys?
there's no doubt. It's everybody, and it's got to be. You know, one person needs to hear it, then we need to echo it, and so it's not as bad as what I make it out to be, but it is one of those things that communication, especially defensively, has to happen.
Players Air Festival is supposed to expand again next year. Has that intrigued you at any point of its sort of short life so far?
You know, I've enjoyed watching it. You know, I think we'll see how it all plays out. You know, it's one of those deals that we hear mixed reports that it's going to go away. We hear mixed reports on how the NILs happened. Joey's in constant contact with them. They've been in contact with us. You know, we're going to be able. Team's going to be able to, without collectives, be able to use this. How's this going to work? Who's governing what? Is it the CSC? Is it the NCAA? There's so much stuff out there that you know, we haven't needed to be in that. So I haven't got overly excited about it, but I have enjoyed watching it. And there's no doubt it's good teams, and we'll see how we continue to move forward with that.